You're listening to Happy Hour Hustle from the creative geniuses here at 834. We're funny, informative, and we swear. We talk all things marketing, communication, small business, plus we offer up hot takes on our industry and whatever else we feel like talking about. So, grab your drink of choice. It's always 5 o'clock at 834. And crank it up.
Hi, everybody. I'm really excited about this Happy Hour Hustle. A big reason we launched this podcast, however many years ago, was to educate, inform, advocate, and as a small business owner, we know this is hard. Preaching to the choir here. My hope is that, by providing resources and educating around some of the major, issues and costs that we're dealing with, that you have options. So today we're talking to HeathBar from HeathBar. And HeathBar is a different way to approach healthcare. I think if I could get one thing across to you, it can help reduce your healthcare costs between 10 to 15% as a small business owner a year. They're not a healthcare provider, but they're not insurer, I should say, but they do provide healthcare. They are taking care of your employees and they're taking care of you, and they're providing concierge service at which by the way, is just knowing the name of your primary care provider. And I remember that being a thing when we were kids. Now, when I get asked that question, I'm like, I don't know. I have no idea. I see who was ever available because that's how our system is set up. So what Nate and his team are doing is very groundbreaking. Only an entrepreneur could decide that this is something they want to fix. Nate is also a licensed nurse. He has easily over a decade of experience. And I think as somebody who has worked in the industry, has had to navigate the industry, and then also is running a business providing healthcare to his employees as well, he is uniquely positioned to educate, to provide the service, and to help small businesses navigate it because it's a shit show, quite frankly. So you're really going to enjoy this conversation. We have a lot of resources we're going to post. One of the reasons I invited Nate on is because he uses his platforms, LinkedIn specifically, to really educate, around the things that are happening. He's also hosting Healthcare 2026, which is a conference in April here in Grand Rapids. We will also link to that, and that's really open to anyone. As a small business owner, we're forced to be educated on things that, quite frankly, we never thought we would have to be. This is one of those. And I'm navigating it right now, which is, selfishly is why I wanted to talk to him. So buckle up. This is, it's not a super long podcast because, I have ADHD, but this is an important conversation. Welcome, everybody, to Happy Hour Hustle. I'm really excited to chat with Nate today. I think healthcare is on everybody's mind right now, especially if you're a small business, because, well, quite frankly, like it's already hard enough. And thanks everyone for making it harder. But what I love about this is, like, technically, Nate, you are a small business. So this feels like, the right audience to be talking to because you get it. Like, you get this. This is hard. Like, really, really hard.
Yeah. No, it's interesting living it as well as providing the service to businesses. And I'm a huge fan of just say, practice what you preach.
Yes.
If you're going to do it yourself. If you're going to tell others to do it. And so it has been interesting as a business owner, small business owner, navigating this for other businesses, but then doing it for our own team as well.
Yeah. So tell everybody who, I feel like, people know who HeathBar is, but, and also, is that like purposefully a play off your name?
It is. The legal name has two A's in it. And then early in the business, nobody could spell it right. So I dropped an A. Yeah, so I was like, branding and marketing would benefit from dropping an A.
I loved it. because when I
Yeah.
saw it, like when, I was doing like research for, the podcast, and let's not pretend I do a ton, but I do know you, so it's fine. But I was like, I remember there being an additional A in there, like, which I
Mhm.
think is clever.
Yep.
So, I mean, and
Yeah.
people can't pronounce anything, so it's just going to happen. But
It kind of is what it is.
yeah,
Trying to give everybody the benefit of the
yeah.
doubt. Yeah.
But okay, so health bar. Let's explain. Give us the an overview of the business.
Really, what we're trying to solve is access, so healthcare access from a primary preventative care standpoint, but also bringing transparency to the healthcare system. So you think about traditional payer models surround insurance and usually are reactive and focused on sickness. We're trying to recreate how primary preventative care can be accessed and then paid for in more of this capitated payment model, subscription fee model, trying to blend a lot of different things that are successful for a lot of practitioners. Direct primary care is, increasingly more successful. Concierge
Yeah.
medicine,
Yes.
a lot of people pushing for transparency. So a lot of these pushes and the momentum in the market are really harnessing with our model into, I would say, a singular, comprehensive model that we feel can be scalable across the U.S.
Kind of explain that a little bit because I feel like when we say concierge medicine, it doesn't sound accessible, but like as somebody who has that, because when you, especially when you're older in your 40s and you're perimenopausal or menopausal, as all of us women are, uh, you stop giving any fucks and you realize that like the traditional model is not, I mean,
Yeah.
you're not going to get the care you need or the attention that you need. And quite frankly, the education, because we don't know what we don't know. And trying to navigate this is really hard. So talk a little bit about that and what that word really kind of means.
The feel of the product is a concierge feel. We connotate concierge to expensive, right? Usually you hear something concierge, it's like, oh, I'm gonna go, do concierge parking and I'm gonna have to pay
Mhm.
$40 for that.
Yeah,
Or maybe a traditional concierge practice, I'm gonna pay 10 grand a year for it.
yeah,
Our model provides the concierge level of service, but to the broader population. And we solve for that via our relationships and work through employers, through schools,
hmm,
really contracting directly with those entities to get access to their populations. The beauty is that the business or the school or other entity is paying us the singular fee, and then the people receiving our services get it free of charge. But the experience behind it is having a personalized
yeah.
relationship with a provider, which is really what that concierge, feel is that I have direct access to a medical professional that can, be on my side, can be an advocate for me, that can get to know me. And when you get that foundation in place for an individual where they actually feel heard and that somebody's actually working for them and not
Yeah.
for the system, then you can make some really awesome things happen.
Well, and you said something interesting, which I want to like go back to. It's being proactive versus reactive. And I think because of the way our healthcare system is structured, it's reactive. Like it's almost like that's encouraged. Like don't come in unless something's really, really wrong with you. So like you don't necessarily make the time for the things that you should that would essentially like
Mhm.
stop, it would head off the reactive because you are finding like issues. You're treating is it the cause versus the symptom?
Yeah, so it goes as deep as our educational system and how clinicians are trained. Quite
Yeah.
honestly, we go to school and we're taught how to identify disease, how to diagnose, how
Yeah.
to do skills and use medications, and really this more prescriptive diagnostic path. We're taught almost nothing about how to live healthy lifestyles and how to nurture our
Yeah.
bodies to be their best healers. And that's where we've looked at it traditionally in healthcare, where, if you're in a hospital and you're talking about nutrition and, breathing techniques and hydration and
Yeah.
movement and these other things, they're like, that's frou-frou stuff. That's for somebody else. We do the cool stuff, right? Like we do the big
Right.
procedures and the big, shiny, sexy things.
Yeah. The things
Um,
that make them money.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
just it is. It's the way it's financed and it's all these things. And prevention is not sexy, right? It's the long haul, it's the grind, it's the day to day. And so we've tried to embrace that side of it and then make a business that it makes financial sense to embrace that side of it and to have an outcome be less dependency
Yeah.
on healthcare versus more dependency on healthcare.
Yeah. And talk a little bit about like the solutions that you provide and specifically how you kind of price it for small businesses. Mostly this is just me needing to know, especially with my
Yeah,
plan coming up in April. And I mean,
yeah.
dude, it's confusing. I mean, you know this, you do this for a living, but
Mhm.
I'm not an expert in this shit. Like I'm trying to run a business that's marketing focused and like e-learning focused and program focused. I don't know anything about healthcare.
No, insurance is really just a tool to shift risk. So if I'm thinking about it myself, like I insure my car, I insure my house, I
Yeah.
insure anything else. So I'm worried about it burning down or getting in a,
Yeah.
car accident and have it be totaled. If we think about health insurance similarly, we want to shift all the risk over to the insurance company. So that way it's like, I'm going to buy that insurance plan.
Yeah.
And if shit hits the fan, like they're
Yeah.
going to pay for it. Right.
Yeah.
And so there's an element, especially with someone's health. Health is so personal
Yeah.
and there's so much fear around it because of the unknown that you want to have something in place, like a catastrophic style plan. The problem is that back in '09 when the ACA rolled out,
Yeah.
they kind of got rid of catastrophic plans that you could buy unless you're in a very specific class of individuals. And so
Yeah.
generally that's not available anymore. And businesses have, borne the brunt of this as
Yeah.
those mandates have come along
Yeah.
too, especially small businesses and some of the mandates. So really, I think what we're looking to do is to, we're not an insurance product, but what can we do is reduce the risk of a population for a more major incident,
Yeah.
which reduces that risk profile of them.
Yeah.
So it's super complicated and there's all different types of insurance plans, right? You have fully insured, level funded,
Yeah.
self-funded, like the whole, alphabet soup of options. And what we're trying to do is come in and be a partner and an advocate. And I think one of the things we started to talk about is being a true fiduciary for
Yeah.
a business or organization. Like, what's your best interest? Like,
Yeah.
you just pay us for our services. I'm not making money anywhere else, right? Like I don't get a commission.
Yeah.
I don't get volume incentives to
Yeah.
do this or that. So how do we act as a true fiduciary for you as an organization?
Which I love because I don't know what I don't know. And it's
Yep.
not like I'm asking you to understand like marketing. And sometimes you feel like you need almost like a PhD to understand this stuff, which kind of gets to the point like, how the hell did you end up here? Like what made you say, it would be fun? Our healthcare industry seems like everything's
Oh,
real simple. Like, let's just do
it's
it.
it's wild. I think back at the journey, and I do wonder sometimes, like, how did we get here as an organization? How did I
Yeah.
get here in my career? And it was a series of events. And honestly, it was something, things happen and it's just one day, one step at a time.
Yeah.
And honestly, after accumulation of all of that, just consistently moving forward, despite the ups and downs. Like sometimes people look on the outside and they're like, "Oh my gosh, you made it, right? Like you built a business and you're succeeding." I was
Yeah.
like, "Yeah, but you don't understand the shit we went
No,
through for 3 to 4 years
yeah.
building this."
Yeah.
And so people look at entrepreneurship and it seems like this some thing. And I was like, honestly, unless you got a super strong stomach and a
Yeah.
ton of resiliency and great support, entrepreneurship is hard
Oh
and
my
it
God,
can
it sucks.
suck.
I always think it's hilarious when they teach it in school or like they'll
Yeah.
like you can get like a degree in it. And I said, and I always feel like, no, 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 you're born this way. Something is broken in your brain. Like, and you're like, you know what? Let me do the most difficult thing I could ever
Yeah.
imagine doing. And then people be like, wow, good for you. You did it. And I was like, no, no, no.
Yeah.
No, 19 years here, I don't feel like I did it. I don't know that you ever fully feel like good.
I've had this thought too, and I'll take on these big projects. We're putting on this conference in April, right? These things. It's like, why did I
Why did
decide
you
to
do
do this? Because I'm
Yeah.
putting all this pressure on
Yeah.
myself, but it's almost this drive. I just feel so passionate about caring for people and having experienced the system for what it is and seeing the pain it's putting so many people in our business communities through. I just feel such a strong calling that I have to try to fix this or at least be a part of
Yeah.
something that is fixing it. So that's really what drives me is just
Yeah.
it's not easy and there are days where I just want to like
Close the
disappear.
business. Yeah. Yeah.
And
Hide
be
in
like,
your
I'm
basement.
done.
Yeah, I have
Yeah.
those. Yeah. I think
Yeah.
it's funny because I do think entrepreneurs, when they start their business, it's to solve a problem. Um, like, so we start it because we are totally idealistic and we want to save the world. And we just think, well, if not me, then who, which is true. And I think, well, first of all, I think you're tackling one of the hardest things. And you have to navigate like the existing like insurance companies. Like you have a partnership with Priority Health. So will you talk a
Mhm.
little bit about that?
Yeah, we're working with various industries and entities within those industries. So in the insurance world, we work with insurance brokers, with payers. You have insurance providers like Priority. You'll have TPAs like ASR. Nomi's a familiar name now. All these different players in the market. Super complicated for another day, but specifically with Priority, it's interesting as you see these relationships form
Yeah.
is that there's value in their end on having a healthcare partner that can do pop health in
Yeah.
this way. If
Yeah.
you think about traditional insurance, you pay them that premium, you're shifting the risk to
Yeah.
them.
Yeah.
They win by less utilization. And so the
Yeah.
better we do our work in a
Yeah.
fully insured relationship,
Hmm.
Priority Health then has fewer claims with that book of business, which is good for them at the end of the day. It allows us, for us, we've been proud of the partnership. It's a really good way to get validation and exposure for our
Yeah.
model and to really show like there's value in a lot of different areas for something like this. We're not, if you watch my stuff on LinkedIn or follow me, I'll poke, around all the different elements of the
Yes.
industry.
Yeah.
And it's not that, I think what I'm trying to do is help people critically think
Yes.
and ask questions
Yeah.
about
Well, people
things.
don't know. And that's
No.
actually for people who are listening, that's literally like I've known obviously your journey and I've been, watching, not in a creepy way. But one of the things I do love is that you do use your platform to educate. And that's actually like I can't remember what the post was, but I saw something you posted and I was like, "Oh my God, Nate, I need to talk to you. Like I need to have you on to talk about like this stuff because it is the number one thing we're, as small businesses we're dealing with. And it's really hard to compete for talent when you can't figure this part out. Like
Yeah.
that's the number one question you get candidates asking is, okay, what is your benefits? I don't, uh,
Well,
like, yeah,
and as a small business, I think it's really hard competing with larger organizations
mhm,
on competitive benefits when they have tens of millions of dollars
yeah,
to throw around at these different
yeah,
benefits and
mhm,
plans. And then you, as a small business, they're like, "Well, what are you going to offer me?" Like, do you understand? I'm just surviving right now, or I'm
right,
growing and I'm
right,
reinvesting in the business.
yeah,
And so from the employee side, we actually recently had this conversation within our leadership team. We were saying, it's really interesting as we've grown, and the
yeah,
people that have joined our business early on joined because they felt so passionate about the vision. And then as we grow larger and larger, and we're hiring more providers, it's becoming as if, they're being hired into just a job then, right? They like what we're
yeah,
doing and they're great people, but this is a job to them, not necessarily like I'll go down with the ship kind of thing.
yeah,
And so
yeah.
it's different. Yeah.
Yeah. And I do want to talk a little bit because like I think people get confused. You're not insurance.
Correct.
Um, so, but what you do can save small businesses money. I think I read something about between like 10 to 15% annually. Will you kind of explain that?
It's really in that, in where we really level up our strategy is in that level funded or self-funded insurance
Yeah.
strategy. This is harder for small businesses to obtain, but there are options out there
Yeah. Yeah.
that we can discuss too. But really, what we're doing is looking at that population and saying, where is most of the medical spend occurring, and how do we work with those individuals and or that entire group to, instead of them going to hospital A, B, or C or get these services over here, the business is paying us a fixed amount. How do we take as much of that care being done in an expensive setting and shift it over to this
Yeah.
capitated fee to where the more they use us, the more value they get and the more savings they generate. And so that's the whole idea is kind of redirecting the funnel over to our services. So let's say you're paying, X dollars a month for us to be available to you.
Yeah.
We want to be busy and productive, and we really
Yeah.
want to make people healthy because then it reflects on that business's risk profiling when they're buying insurance.
And I do, I do like, as somebody like, when you're busy, like from a, like a client or a customer side for you, like, not even talking as a business owner, but I like the fact that there's telehealth and, video health,
Mhm.
whatever it's called. And that, but you also have a location, and also your people will come too.
we
Like,
go we go right on site to a lot of the organizations we work with to be literally a physical presence within their brick and mortar, and that's the ability for us to expand our on-site access model literally
yeah,
anywhere. We have contracts that are headquartered here in West Michigan, but they have locations in Illinois or Ohio or
yeah.
Alabama, and we're
Hmm.
on site serving those populations. It's kind of the natural way I think we'll grow is through these shared relationships with employers and agencies and payers.
Are you fully, so you just mentioned Ohio. So talk to me a little bit about like, because I'm in the process of offering a job to an out of state employee. And I'm like, shit, what do I do? Because
Yeah.
like my plan is in state, or I don't even know how to call it, what to call it, Nate. But like, so I'm just really struggling with that right now. Like, what do I
Your
do?
your payer, if you're going to buy a traditional plan, your payer typically has to rent a network to use. So let's say you have a priority plan here, they might rent a
Yeah.
United network down there. And then there's a separate, almost like payer plan that's associated with that individual. The nice thing about our services, because we are completely disconnected from that payer
Yeah.
world, is that for us to go into a new state, it's actually fairly easy.
Okay.
There's things with licensure and credentialing that we have to do to be authorized to practice in those states. But we've worked with patients in over 36 states right now virtually. And then in person, we're working with patients in 4 different states, and we're seeing that continue to expand. So
Yeah.
it's really not crazy. And when you take the insurance, cobweb of it all
Yeah.
out of place, and you just connect a
Yeah.
provider with a patient and make the payment transparent and easy, it's not that hard. And it
And
just
that's
seems,
something you
yeah.
navigate, right, for the business.
Correct. Yeah, we'll help
Take
them
that.
with our side of it. What we'll
Mhm.
do is really say we're going to establish that care relationship with a health bar
Mhm.
provider, a W-2'd
Yep.
employee of ours,
Love it.
and we're going to create that linkage. And then when that patient utilizes our services, they don't pay anything. So it's really fantastic to have. And again, the ability to text your provider, to call them, jump on a video call,
Yeah.
to send them an
Yeah.
email. I mean, you can imagine we're all busy, and what do we
Mhm.
do all day long? We text, we
Yeah.
call, right? We do this.
Yeah.
Um, the lowest hanging fruit to make it the easiest for someone to use.
Well, and I think it's really appealing to the younger generation, because that is what they want to do. And I remember always being asked like, "Who's your primary care provider?" And I was like, "I have no idea." Like I mean, I don't. It's not like I know my doctor by name, and that's what
Yep.
our parents had that. I remember that. Like
Mhm.
my we went to the same doctor since we were kids. Like
Mhm.
we knew him by name. That is not what people have anymore. And it almost sounds like you're basically bringing that back.
It's swinging the pendulum all the way back. And I'll
Yeah.
say we want to recreate the world where your provider, your doctor, your care home existed within your
Yeah.
community, where you might see your provider at church, at the bar, in the
Yeah.
grocery store.
Yeah.
Like, just make it real. Like,
Yeah.
we look at healthcare providers and we put them on a pedestal like they're these like gods or whatever. It's like all real people that just
Yeah.
I'm out there shoveling my driveway just like everybody else right
Yeah.
now, right? Like
Yeah.
there's nothing special about me other than, we just have a knowledge and a skill set to do
Mhm.
a certain job.
Yeah.
And why can that not be so
Yeah.
personal
Yeah.
and in your community? And that's really what it needs to be.
Well, it's funny because I say, people do business with people, not logos. And like, especially when it's something like this, it's so personal.
Yes.
Like, and it's frustrating and scary and all of these things. And, I think the value of small businesses is that, the people running them truly do care about their employees. And we want what's best for them, but we're not always in a position to be able to provide that. And you guys are offering a solution where that's like a workaround or a work through or a work, like whatever. And that's really cool, man. Like it's why I wanted to talk to you. I was like, more small businesses need to know about you because I remember you doing this. I came and saw you when I didn't really understand what you were doing. And I
Yeah.
showed up super hungover and needed like, I don't know, I got like fluids or whatever. And I think
Yeah.
like bags worth. And they were probably like, dear Lord, this woman needs help. But I remember just showing up and like, it's still your same location, right? Off of,
So it's crazy. So we had our location on Michigan and Fuller.
yeah,
So those are our
yeah.
drive-through medical centers, and we've actually those are actually not operational any longer.
Okay.
We've
So I can't
that's
come over there when I'm hungover. Good to know.
if you
Yeah.
show up there, nobody will be there.
Well, that's great. And I probably would. So thank you.
No, yeah, but it is something we're looking at doing in the future because that access model was so convenient
Yeah.
and so transparent. Was how do we bring back that blended oil
Yeah.
change and urgent care, right? Where I'm driving in, I'm getting
Yeah.
medical care, and I'm driving
Yeah.
out.
I
And
just
so
liked it
yeah,
too because when I walked in there, it didn't feel
no,
because it's like, who's designing these spaces?
yeah,
With these plastic seats and these like outdated
mm,
magazines, and it did not feel like that at all. Like,
yeah,
you don't feel like you're a transaction.
yes, correct. Yeah, cared
Yeah.
for, convenient. It's really all catering to you as the
Yeah.
patient. Because honestly, it's realigning that patient-provider relationship. And if you're not directly interacting with me and paying me and those types of things,
Yeah.
I mean, you're creating a shopping consumer experience, which it should be.
Yes, it should be. Because
Mhm.
we pay a lot for it. So, okay,
Yeah.
so before we kind of wrap up, what is one thing you want people to know? Like if there's one major takeaway from this, and then also
Mhm.
please share how people can get a hold of you.
Yeah, I think I'm always a big believer in there's hope and there's work being done on this front. I know it's such a big pain point for individuals right now and small businesses and businesses in general. But there is work happening and there is momentum building. And so we really just appreciate everyone's support and the community and beyond, just, giving us opportunities like this. And then, just to interact and have a shot at it. So we're always open to conversations. Follow me on LinkedIn. It's a great way to kind of get a feel for what we do and our
Yeah.
philosophy, what we're tackling. Healthbar.com is our website. All of our contact info is there.
Yeah.
But yeah, get on LinkedIn, send me a DM. I'm very responsive to that. Follow our journey,
Yeah.
and yeah, no, we're just out here trying to do good work,
Yeah.
all to the benefit of our community and its people.
Well, I appreciate it because I know that it's not like lip service, which I don't really understand that saying, but whatever. We all use it. But it isn't because you are really genuine. And this is like, I don't think people fully understand when you run a business how much you live it and how much it becomes. I mean, it's ingrained in you. Like,
Everything.
yeah, like it's your DNA, man. We're messed
Yeah.
up. We really are. We should be in therapy, which also you do cover. So,
Yes.
I would
Yep. We do.
just one request. Could you just figure
Mhm.
out the pet thing? Could you just fix that industry?
Yeah, pet insurance. I actually have some colleagues who have a niche in the pet space.
Oh my
So
God.
whenever you post this or we get it out
Yeah.
there, I'll
Yeah.
include a link to their business in the
Yeah.
comments.
Yeah. I'm just gonna need that now because I just paid $15,000 for my Doberman.
Oh
And
no.
yeah, yeah. And like what the
Oh,
best part is the pet insurance kicked in the day after her emergency. So that was great. Still gonna
no,
try
terrible,
that process, but it'll be
terrible.
like, no, lady, it's pre-existing. But I mean, it is, it's
Yeah.
just I mean,
Hmm.
and I think about all the people, well, you have this with humans and pets, all the people who
Yeah.
have to make really shitty decisions because they're not in a position financially.
Yep.
So yeah. So you'll have to get me that person's name sooner rather than later, but we will post this with
Well,
the podcast. But I can't
sounds good.
thank you enough. Like I'm so appreciative of what you do. And you've been doing this how long now?
We're going on 6 years, so it feels like a long time, but not
God, it
that
feels like it
long.
was over a decade.
I
Like,
know it does. It
yeah.
does.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, so healthbar.com,
Hmm.
not the extra A in it.
That's right.
And then follow you on LinkedIn.
Hmm.
And yeah, I mean, and what I love, 36 states, man. Like
Yeah.
that's impressive. Like,
Yeah. It's pretty.
congratulations. I know this is
Thanks.
hard,
Mhm.
but it's a big deal.
Yeah.
So, all right, everybody. We will, I don't, we will get this obviously posted, but I like
Mhm.
to always say see you on the download. Not that anybody downloads these, but I'm old and I don't care. So that's what I'm gonna say. But thank you for being on Happy Hour Hustle. I really appreciate it. And
Yeah.
our goal is to drive awareness around resources for small business. because no one understands better than a small business how hard it is to be a small business.